Hello, beloveds. It is your Love Big Coach, who feels like it's been forever that I've actually done a video with you. I've been writing my Self Love Sundays the past few times that I've done it, but today's a beautiful day. I'm in Houston. I'm at my parents' house this weekend, just spending some quality time with them and um, thinking just a lot about life, right? And specifically about what we call liminal space, right? So that's what I want to talk a little bit about today for this Self Love Sunday. Liminal space, what is it? What do we do with it? And how do we embrace it as an integral part of our self love journey? So, liminality is a very interesting concept, right? It's that space between, right? Celtic spirituality talks about it as the thin space. We can also think about it as the already but not yet, as the place where we find ourselves often as we are trying to figure out what's next, even as what was has ended, but we're not quite into what will be. Does that sound familiar to anyone, right? I feel like 2020 has been an exercise in liminal space for all of us collectively, right? Whether it's related to COVID and the global pandemic, whether it's related to racial injustice and the ongoing uprisings, whether it's related to our political landscape, our personal lives, our professional lives, right? We're in this weird time. Grief is palpable. It's ever present. Anxiety is right beneath the surface. We're fatigued, right? We're having to deal with all of these things that are constantly changing, and it's hard to catch our breath, let alone find our footing. And yet, right, I'm a person of hope, even in the midst of all this loss that I've experienced personally, that we've experienced collectively. Like I have the audacity to hope, right? To trust that the experience that we're in is not the experience or the final or ultimate experience of our lives. And so it got me thinking a lot about liminal space, right? What is it? Again, it's that space between, right? Between what was and what will be. How do we move in it? And why is it important for this self love journey? So I've been doing a lot of work with my therapist recently because necessary. You hear me? And, I'm thinking a lot about what it means to embody not just practices, but take seriously all of these theories that we have, right? I think that having or embodying self love as a theory, or self care as a theory, or, you know, the practice of compassion as a theory, liminal space as a theory. But what does it mean to take any of these things that we theorize about and actually root them within our beings and embody it? And liminal space has been the thing most recently that I'm moving deeply into, to move it from theory to an embodied way of being to then a practice, right? So if we think about liminal space or liminality as the already but not yet of that space between the what is and what will be, I think about that as it relates to my self-love journey as in a couple of ways. One, I don't always believe what I say. I trust it, right? I have hope in it, but sometimes it's a struggle for me to believe certain things about myself, right? About others. But there is, to me, something powerful, especially as it relates to liminality, in articulating and moving forward in the hope that, right? This thing that I might not fully believe or even less understand, but hoping that this thing that I'm putting my faith in is going to come to pass. So this work that I'm putting in to fall in love with all of who I am, right, is going to pay off. Or this effort that I'm taking to care for my holistic being will actually produce some results that are life changing and transformative. I also think about the invitation that liminal space provides us with, which is an invitation to simply be. Right, my best friend, Bishop Layla Ortiz of the Metro DC Synod and the ELCA, the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, often says or invites us to consider what would it look like, feel like, sound like, simply be like, to do less and be more. And that has been something that's been knocking around in my own life as I consider this time we're in. There's not much I can do. I'm not in control of anything. And I think this space of the in between is inviting me to simply be, to be more present, to be more committed, to be more patient, to be more compassionate, to be more love, right? And you, dear ones that are members of the Love Big Collective, know that when I talk about love, I'm talking about that force, right, that moves within us all, that leads us to creativity and liberation and holistic sustenance. So I wonder what liminal space might be inviting you to, how you might engage this in between time, this reality that you are not in control, and how you might trust that something is being nurtured within, that something will sprout and come to life that we don't yet know what it is, and that this is a season for us to plant and to trust and to hope and to be, to be. So I also want to invite you to a week. This week I'm doing a series of conversations, the first one being tonight. But every night this week from Sunday the 15th of November until Saturday the 21st, or I think it's Saturday the 21st of November, I will be co-hosting conversations with my beloved sister and partner in the Racial Healing and Wellness Coaching Program for White Women, Nicole Newman. We're going to be engaging some white women in our lives around conversations dealing with womanhood, with identity, and with race. And I'd love for you to participate and join. It's going to be live streamed on Facebook. And as a member of the Love Big Collective, you will get links for that directly to your inbox once the series is done. But I hope that you take some time this week to simply breathe and be. And it's good to be with you. Thank you all for your support, for your love, for your prayers, and for your continued compassion and patience with me as we co-create this crazy, wild thing called community. So I love you, and I love you big.